Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Chris here from Fake Sports News, Axe Rotation, however the flip you know me on these interwebs. And today I'm going to be bringing you guys a quick preview of what to expect going into week 2 of stage 4 of the CDL, going into DreamHack Dallas in a couple of weeks. Now, to kick things off, we're going to have the Miami Heretics taking on the Vegas Falcons. And you guys know that I've been very high on the Miami Heretics as of late because of Super coming into this roster, of course, in place of Lucky. I think he's been an absolute transformative player for this Miami Heretics team. If you guys go back to some of my early videos, you can see that I thought this team would have a very, very transformative effect on the whole org because of the chemistry that these players had in Challengers years ago. So, consequently, I think that they get a 3-1 here. I think that their respawn and their S&Ds look phenomenal as of late. I just feel like the Vegas Falcons, they are a very chippy S&D and control team. So I feel like that's where they have a very, very serious edge in this series, and they could take a map. But I don't see this one going to 5 just because Miami Heretics, their momentum has been absolutely off the charts as of late. Now, in our next series, speaking of teams that have had momentum that has been absolutely off the charts as of late, we have the Optic Texas boys who recently signed Mercules, getting him from the Toronto Ultra. Thankfully for the Optic Texas side, they got him just in time for the run to champs to see if they can go back to back, potentially with this new look player. So, for the Optic Texas side, I think this will be a very decisive 3-1, staking that Mercules is here for a little while on the green wall, and he is a superstar that we thought he was. I think that coming into this 3-person team of Shotzi, Hook, and of course Dashy, Mercules will be plugging into a very solidified 3-person system, similar to what he came into with Ultra. So I think it'll be more of the same of what we saw at the Ultra camp, at Major 3. I think he will make a very solid run. I think he'll look great. So, in our next series, we have story as old as time, Cloud9 versus Atlanta Faze. Once again, let's see, they played a lot this year. So, January, March, April, we get it almost every month. Yeah, and Faze, they win it every single time they play. So, I think it'll be a 3-1 in favor of the Atlanta Faze boys, just out of respect to how solid the new look Cloud9 team has looked. I think that they will take a map here, most likely. I'm not sure which one. Now, speaking of Cloud9, they will start off the Saturday matches taking on the Miami Heretics. All things expected, I consider this to be a most likely dub for the Miami Heretics, but with that Spartan Capsule team, they've looked really good. So, honestly, I don't know what to expect other than a map win somewhere in this series for for the C9 boys. They could take 2, but just based on the fact that they're a new team and they're going to take some time to gel and solidify how they want to play the game, I think 1 is safe. Now, in our next matchup of the weekend, we have Miami Heretics, Minnesota Rokkr taking on the Los Angeles Gorillas mates, of course, with Johnny and Fellow recently coming into the mix on the LAG side, and then Kenny coming into the mix on the Minnesota Rokkr side, coming over from Optic. So, looking at it, I think it'll be a 3-1 for the Minnesota Rokkr. I think that realistically, these players will be doing their very best to make a run at champs. The Boston Breach could get knocked off if they lose the head-to-head versus Optic Texas in this week's match. Let me go to the standings to show you guys where everybody sits right now. So here are the current standings for Major 4, and then let's look at the standings for the regular season overall. So Faze and Thieves are currently tied. Faze number 1 seed because they obviously beat Thieves last week, as you guys know, if you watched my previous video. But what we're interested in is the race to champs. Minnesota Rokkr is 40 points behind Optic Texas, who are in the lead right now. If they beat Boston Breach in the head-to-head, then they would usurp them in 2 weeks' time if Boston Breach don't win another series. So Optic would be at 165 at that point. They have another series this weekend, which would get them to 175. So let's check that out. Optic play the Ravens next up. Boston play Vancouver Surge. They're most likely not going to get any points this weekend if Optic can stop them. And Vancouver don't have a unceremoniously bad series, right? So I think Optic should get to 175 and be 5 points away from Breach, which means that Rokkr, the pressure is on. They are officially getting into the danger zone where they would have to have a phenomenal Major 4 and make sure that they make winner's bracket to do so, first off, right? So, yeah, Rokkr, pressure's on, but I think it starts here with this LAG series. I think they will start to make the run that they need to. but they're still 65 points behind Boston Breach, so it's not looking good. I just wanted to let you guys know what the stakes are and what everybody's competing for. And as you guys can see, Cloud9 is right there with the C9, the Minnesota Rokkr boys. So that'll be interesting to see if Spartan Capsule can maybe make a miraculous run. If they have a great run in Major 4, I feel like they have a better chance than the Minnesota Rokkr team just based on what we've seen, but we'll see. It's early. So, in our next series, speaking of early, I think we'll be going home from this one early with the 3-0 for the LA Thieves. I just feel like after the embarrassing loss that they took in Game 5, Round 11, for their standards to the Miami Heretics, a team who definitely have not been in their league in terms of series wins and consistency all year long. I think Thieves will come out hot against a Vegas Falcons team that realistically could get 3-0'd by LA Thieves any day of the week. Now, in our next series, we have the Carolina Royal Ravens taking on Optic Texas in a super important matchup for seeding for Optic Texas. As you guys can see, Carolina are sitting pretty on the seeding side. They are currently the 5th seed with 220 points, so champs is very much secured for them. So Optic, everything's on them here. That's why I like them to take this one with a 3-2. Now, in our next one, the first series of Sunday, we have another team that's qualified for champs. Currently, our 7th seeded team, the Boston Breach, with 180 points, taking on the Vancouver Surge, who are currently our 4th seeded team with 300 points. So I think the Vancouver Surge get to 310 here, and I think they get a 3-1 to make that kind of make sense, right? 3-1, 310. So, yeah, looking at our next series, we have Atlanta Faze taking on the LAG boys. You guys can see I double point boosted this one in the last recording that didn't record my mic because it died. Sadness. But yeah, I think it'll be a 3-1 for my home team. I think that Faze, after that LA Thieves victory where they 3-0 smoked them, I don't think that they'll stop dominating teams in this online qualifier stage. They had a really rough stage 3, but I think they figured out what went wrong at stage 3 and the stage 3 major. So I think going into the rest of the year, Faze is going to go back to being as dominant as they have been. And I think they went out. So, in our last matchup of the weekend, we have the Minnesota Rokkr, who are in desperation mode for points, going up against a team that really doesn't care. Let's look at where everybody sits on the standings. So, the Ultra are a 3 seed with 330 CDL points. And of course, as you guys know, the Minnesota Rokkr are our 9 seed with 215 fewer points. So, very serious uphill battle for the Rokkr. Let's see how things have gone on the year. Ultra dominated. We're going to say 3-2 in favor of the Toronto Ultra to take the Battle of the North decisively once again. And I think that's how the week ends. So we're going to look it in. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. Hope you guys have a great morning, noon, or night wherever you may be on this beautiful planet. And once again, this is Chris from Fake Sports News, Access Rotation, however the flip you know me on these interwebs. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.